welcome back to Gorilla Man's Garage. It's raining outside, so we're inside. We're going to do a review on the Fimi X8 Mini version 2. Just came out. I ordered it on the 10th of April and got it on the 26th. And happenstance be on the 14th of April, I took my version 1 up for a flight and crashed and basically destroyed it. So, irony one way or the other, there you go. Here's a little clip of the destroyer. So there you have it. On the 14th, it became a non-existent drone anymore. Closest I can figure is something got stuck in a motor and seized it, and then it just spiraled downward, and when it hit the ground, it came down on the back left corner and snapped the motor mount of that motor and damaged part of the landing gear, which I'll show you here. I had to put some glue in it to make it better. But it, as you see in this picture here, it popped the battery out and the landing gear did pop off. So there you go. So enough about that. Let's talk about Fimi X8 Mini version 2. Oh, and by the way, it destroyed, I found 3 cracks in the arms on the version 1, plus the motor mount was destroyed on the one arm, plus the landing gear was broken, plus the gimbal, I believe, was forced back into itself when some of the gears are meshed and it won't align anymore. The camera works, but it doesn't immobilize the gimbal anymore. So there you go. So we're here to talk about the Fimi X8 Mini version 2, which we have right here. I took the battery out, but it's the same battery. Batteries from version 1 fit version 2, etc., etc. And they came out with a whole new battery for version 2, which is 3100 milliamps versus 2400 milliamps in the lithium-ion version. The LiPo battery, which is 2250 milliamps. LiPo gives you a much lower weight, and yeah, you can buy that online for about 60 bucks. There you go. That's the version 2. How can you tell them apart? Just a quick overview here. If you look in the bottom, I'll put a picture there. Look in the bottom. You can see that it was created in 2023. That's how you know that's there. And same with the same controller. Look on the back. I'll show you that picture. Controller. Yep. 2023. Okay. And the battery. 2023. On the actual box, the boxes look the same except for a little icon on the bottom here. It's called the 2TAI Computing SoC. Something about all being on one chip or something. I think it's got something to do with tracking, but anyway, that's the update for that. And the 1/2.5 camera versus 2.6 with a stacked CMOS. That's the difference. How can you tell it's version 2? Look there, and I'll show you a picture of that as well. And that's it says V2 right beside the date of production. Date of production just means the date they packaged it, which in this case was April of 2023. So there you go. So let's get into it. So the Fimi X8 Mini version 2. Would you buy it? A little different approach here. Okay, would you buy it? If you already had the version 1, would you buy the version 2? Unless you had to have the best of the best or the latest of the latest, probably not. In good light and good weather, pretty hard to tell the difference. In not so great light, yeah, there is a noticeable difference. Okay? And we'll show you that here in a little while. Okay? Well, let's show it to you now. Okay. I took it up. Here's a short clip of the takeoff. I had no compass calibration, no settings were changed, just plugged it in, let her go, see what happens. This is a short clip of the takeoff. And this is the first time up, so there we go. Watch it closely. Can we still see it? It's up about there. Okay, it's pretty good. Pretty good. Okay, I'm going to bring it down into the frame a bit. Here. So right off the bat, I was pretty impressed for a Fimi. Okay, it's not a DJI, and actually it's not a Hubsan. And Hubsan has some pretty good hovering right now. Okay, so for Fimi, it's a little better than the other one. It's definitely better than the 2022 X8 SE. Okay, and it holds its position pretty well. It doesn't go up to 4 meters. It goes just around the 3 meter mark, so that's pretty good. So it's got a good hover. So now let's look at just a quick video. Okay, so here's a video, just a little bit of yawing. I haven't touched anything. Everything's on auto, and just a note here, you should keep the metering on center, not average. Average will blow it out. Your EV will be way too low and it'll come out dark. Okay, centering. Okay, here's a quick clip. Okay, that's not too bad. The color saturation is good. It's better than it's been before. I remember when the version 1 came out, the saturation level was absolutely horrible. Did get better, okay, but I don't know, initially it was horrible. Speaking of that, I went back a year in my YouTube videos and grabbed this little snippet. So watch this, and then go back and forth between the two, okay? Watch this. Interesting. The only difference between the two is the version 1 little clip was pretty overcast day. The version 1, the last one little clip, was a sunny with a few clouds, blue sky, good lighting. Okay, that's the difference. Okay, so what do you think? I think they're pretty close, but there you go. Next, let's look at the wind resistance. Wind resistance, okay? Look at this clip. Now that clip, version 2, I was descending from height, and as you can see by the UAV forecasting I'm going to put up here, it was over 40 kilometers an hour wind gusts when I was coming down. The trees are really blowing. And even the Fimi X8 version 1 did pretty good in the wind. Okay, and this seems to be the same. So I have no doubt that the range is going to be good, the time in flight is going to be good, and the wind resistance is going to be good. The video is good, and the camera is good. Speaking of the camera, two types of images, two sizes of images. You can get 8 megapixel and 12 megapixel. So 8 is going to be 16 by 9, 12 is going to be 4 by 3. So here's just a quick shot of each one of those. So there you have it. You've seen some videos, you've seen the wind resistance video, you've seen pictures, and there is no DNG in the version 2. There is no DNG in version 1 anymore. It used to be when it first came out, and they took it out about 7 months ago. So now it's just JPEG, okay, for images, okay? But you get the choice of 16 by 9 or 4 by 3. Basically, a 16 by 9 is a 4 by 3 with the top and bottom cut out of it. So there you go. So what are we going to talk about now? Okay, what else is the good stuff? What else is good? Can we talk about it? The price. Price isn't bad, $2.99. It just went up to $3.49, but I'm sure it's going to go down another month after the initial sales and all that kind of stuff. So a reasonable price for a decent little drone. I loved the Mini version 1. I really did. My only issue with that one was that in cold weather I got jello, but in warm weather, above 10 degrees Celsius, it was great. Flew great, had no problem. There you go. You can even do offline waypoints, and I have a video on that as well. So you do offline waypoints, save it, away you go. You don't have to worry about no-fly zones or getting authorization codes. It's a Fimi, it'll fly anywhere, you can do anything. Just one thing. If it's over 250, and this drone was never advertised as a sub 250 drone. It's not even close, okay? If you buy the Pro battery, the lithium polymer LiPo battery, it will be under 250. Here's three batteries and 3 different weights, okay? So boom, there's the picture. You've got the Plus battery, which comes with the version 2, which is 3100 milliamps, and that brings the whole ready to fly weight up to 265.6 grams. If you put the standard lithium ion battery in it, which is 2400 milliamps, it's up to 260.1 grams. And if you have the Pro battery, which is the LiPo battery, which is 2250 milliamps, you'll get under the 250 at 245.2. Then you won't have to register and you won't have to do anything. But if you buy the version 2 with the Plus battery, which is the only way you can buy it, it's going to be over 250 grams. There you go. You put landing gear on it, it's over 250 anyway. But it's up to you, however you want to do with it. And that's all there is to that. Okay. So if weight's a big issue, you may or may not want to buy it. But it's a great little drone. Just like Hubsan. Hubsan came out with a Hubsan Mini, which was the Hubsan Zeno Mini SE with a Hubsan Zeno Mini Pro camera. 1/1.3 camera. So they put a 1/1.3 camera basically in a Hubsan Zeno Mini SE, but that bumped the weight up, so it was over 250 grams, and it had a problem with syncing and timing and dates and stamping and stuff like this. So it wasn't a very good seller for them, and they never fixed it. And it's tons of jello and tons of all kinds of stuff. So it was a disaster, really, in my point of view. Anyway, let's continue. What's next? Okay, so we've talked about the good stuff. So what is the good stuff in a wrap here? Good stuff is, it's new. It's like getting a new car. You say you buy a 2018 Nissan Murano, and then the 2019 comes out. Oh, I gotta have the 19. You buy the 2019. What's the difference? Absolutely nothing. So this is 2 years apart, 2021 and 2023. Okay, version 1 was 2021, this was 2023. What's the difference? Virtually nothing. A little tiny bit, the camera. Okay, now on here, I don't know if you can see it, but there is a, you might be able to see it there somewhere. It says 4K. On the version 1, it doesn't say 4K. Okay, that's the difference. So everything is internal. It's got the same lens, the same wiring, the same connectors, the same housing, the same everything like that. It's inside. It's the programming and the actual chipset. I believe it's because it's a stacked CMOS. Okay, So it's a little bit different in the programming, and the only way you know that is when you plug it in and you go to the firmware. You can see the camera firmware is 2206A, and if it's 22 with 2 numbers and a capital letter, it's version 2. If it's 20, 2 numbers and a capital letter, it's version 1. The other way is when you go into pictures and you go into video, on the version 1 you can see HDR and Super Night mode, and in the version 2 there is no HDR and there's no Super Night mode. So there you go. That's the difference there. So yeah, the pictures are good, the video's good, it's got good battery life, good range, good flight time, it handles very well for a Fimi. It's still got a little bit of shutter on hovering, but it's pretty good. Okay, I love the design of it. I love the foldability. Everything folds in on itself. I cannot stand the DJI articulating. I hate that. Absolutely hate that. Okay, USB-C charging for that, and USB-C charging for the remote control. Love it, love it, love it. Well, that's about it. So it takes decent pictures and it flies. Okay. Did they address anything else? No. It runs the same app, Fimi Navi Mini, or Navi Fimi Mini, whatever. Okay, same app. You don't select your drone when you go into the app. It runs off of Fimi X8 Mini. You don't have a choice of X8 Mini or X8 Mini version 2. The only way you know is by the camera firmware. So there's no updated app. The controller still runs the regular wiring from version 1. The difference is they got a little diagram, and I'll show you a picture of that. They have a little diagram on here. And the reason you don't see diagram on this one is because this is from version 1. And I'm going to run this little clip here of what happened when I plugged in the version 2 cable. You couldn't change any of the settings. Let's run that right now. Yeah, look at that, 720. I want to go 30. It won't hold. Why won't it hold? 4K 30. Nope. What's wrong with this? High. 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 Okay, let's go and switch that off again then. So yeah, then I put this one in, which is the one from the version 1, and it worked fine. Everything worked fine. Remember, this is the version 2 controller, and the only way you're going to know is by 2023 on the back, and it's exactly the same. My same beef. It's proprietary. If these don't work, you got to buy more from Fimi, or find something that's specifically made for the X8 Mini drone. Okay, this one is from the version 1, fits in, it's proprietary here. This USB-C and this are meant to be together. They have to be together. What you do from here, you can do anything. So you can put on, here we go, you can put on a double-ended USB-C into here, okay, and then you can put it to anything you want. There is one other option. On AliExpress somewhere, you can buy this. Oh, sorry, lights went out. There we go. You can buy this, twice as long, okay? And it's specifically for the Fimi X8 Mini. I got on AliExpress, but if you go there and you just put in extended cable for Fimi X8 Mini, they'll pop up, okay? And it's 30 centimeters. So there you go. I think it's 30 centimeters. Something like that, yeah. Okay. Works great. One end is marked with a, can you see that? It's marked with a USB label thingy, and that goes into, that's the host, goes into the radio controller. And then I can use a tablet holder and I can put that in my tablet. No problem at all. Okay, that's that. Okay, what's next? Yes, okay, I'm going to show you a clip or a picture or something here of SAR, search and rescue mode. It has a zoom function, and you can only use the zoom function when you're in SAR mode. It's one of the flight modes. And when you're in SAR, there's a slider that you can use with your finger and slide up the side of the app, and it will zoom in and zoom out. Problem is, you have to have video zoom turned on in the camera options first. So you go into camera options, turn that on, then go into SARS, and you can use the zoom. Okay. The problem is, no matter what resolution you're shooting in, as soon as you select SAR mode, okay, or turn your zoom function on, it will change your video settings to 4K at 25 frames per second. It will only work at 25 frames per second. Don't ask me why. That's all I know. Okay? So that's one thing. And the zoom that's on that slider on the left side of the app is very close to that other little thing you see at the bottom. It looks like a little square picture, and that is screenshot. So what I was doing, I was tapping and holding to try and slide, and it wouldn't, and it kept coming up screensaver, screensaver, screenshot, screenshot, screenshot. I must have had 8 different screenshots in my phone gallery of the same thing, because every time I tried to hit the slider, I would hit the screensaver, a screenshot. Okay, so that's very annoying. And sometimes it would work with the slider, sometimes it wouldn't. I was thinking of maybe the only way I'll be able to do is if I use a stylus to do it, because obviously my fingers won't work. Also, the same thing with the exposure value. Okay, so exposure value is again a slider. You hit the bottom all the time. I like that button right down there all the time. Sometimes it'll come up, sometimes not. It's really annoying. Unlike the X8 SE, where it's on the right dial of the remote control, and it works flawlessly. And you can change the EV value on the fly in the SE. On the Minis, you can't. You can't be taking a video and change the EV value. Okay, you have to stop your video and change the EV value and start the video again. That's another annoyance that I found. So that's about it. So what do we have? We have a Fimi X8 Mini version 2, which is basically next year's model of the model before, the year before. Okay, it has a little bit better camera, and for the most part, that's all most people would ever really notice, because as far as unless the tracking is really important, and it is a lot better than before. But I don't use tracking, so to me it's all about the video and the signal strength at distance and the waypoints and the NFZs and the authorization. I don't have to worry about that stuff, and the ease of charging and the ease of putting it together. That's everything. Okay, that's everything to me. So at the price point, it's classified as a budget. It can be under 250 grams, but this one is not. Okay, so I will have to register it if I want to fly all this stuff. And the flights, my first 3 or 4 flights are going to be just around my property and maybe going up 25, 35 meters or so. I'm not going a kilometer out. So the Fimi X8 Mini version 2, is it worth it? If you don't have one, yeah, it's a good little upgrade. It's got a few little upgrades, but nothing special, nothing spectacular. If you already have the version 1, then I wouldn't even bother. The version 2 is a little bit better, maybe. And the irony is that on mine, I ordered it on the 10th. On the 14th, I crashed my 2-year-old version 1. And then on the 26th, I got the version 2. So I have one for spare parts, some spare parts. Well, yeah, some cables, some props, a motor, one arm, a gimbal cover. That's about it. But anyway, the Fimi X8 Mini version 2. Don't know why they called it that. In all the literature, and there is a Fimi X8 Mini version 2 user manual on the website, but it's not anywhere, nowhere is the word version 2 mentioned in the entire volume. And it's only on one page in the specs that it mentions the 3100 milliamp battery. Okay, and in one part of it, I think it's page 30 or something, it mentions it has a 1/2.6 camera, but then in the specs it says 1/2.5. But there's no explanation about the CMOS. There's no explanation about the special tracking, T2TAI computing SoC, whatever, single on chip, whatever. There's no mention of that stuff. Nowhere. So there's no documentation anywhere that says version 2. Okay, it would have been so much easier, much less headaches, and this has been going on for months with Fimi, about give me information. I just want some information so I have some understanding when I buy it, rather than just Hail Marying it and purchasing something you have no idea even exists, just like the X8 Pro. People were buying that thing, nobody even seen one. Okay, there's been nothing, and these two releases, the X8 Mini version 2 and the X8 Pro, for the first time in I don't know how many years, Fimi did not release a social media campaign. So there's no reviewers that got it, there's no YouTubers that got it, there's no special clients that got it. The only one I know that got it was the guy from Shape of the Future, which actually I think is one of the head guys at Fimi, because all his videos are right around the corner from the Fimi headquarters in China. Okay, anyway, I digress. Okay, the Fimi X8 Mini version 2, even version 1. Version 1 is great, but you're not going to be able to get it anymore, and it's probably going to be more money than version 2. Okay, $349 right now. It'll probably come down to $299 again. It's a great buy. $299. You're on par with the DJI Mini SE, I think it is. One over the other. Well, with this camera, I say that margin is getting smaller. It's a pretty decent camera. Pretty decent, okay? The version 1 had a really decent camera if you had the right light. Okay? This one is a little better, but I'm hopeful, and we are all hopeful, that Fimi is going to open up some new features with this camera in the near future with some firmware updates. Okay, pretty decent little drone. I think it's going to be pretty good. Okay, got a lot more testing to do, a lot more testing on that battery, because I'm not 100% on the batteries, because when these companies come out with batteries, something always happens and messes up and something like that. But as it is now, the camera, pretty solid, pretty solid. The version 1 was pretty solid in the end. I had jello issues, some people had jello issues, but yet I've seen some videos with the version 2 that the yaw is horrible. Again, Fimi, it's a lottery. Sometimes you get a good one, sometimes you get a bad one. Okay, up to you. So, would I buy the X8 Mini version 2 if I didn't have a drone I wanted? A relatively inexpensive travel drone that could stand the wind and give me some decent footage? Sure. Because I don't have to worry about NFZs, I don't have to worry about getting authorization codes, I don't have to worry about remote ID, I don't have to worry about any of that stuff. Okay, so yeah, it's a pretty decent drone. Okay, is it on par with the Hubsan Xeno Mini SE? I think the camera might outshine that even a little bit. But this is all to come. This is all to come. We've got some of the baseline sub 250s, around 250s with the cameras, so I can do a lot of testing. So now we've got the Hubsan Mini SE, we've got the X8 Mini version 2, and we've got the DJI Mini 3 Standard Edition. So we've got all those three. We've got the Hubsan Mini Pro and the Hubsan Mini, but they're in a different category, really. Okay, so let's see what happens. Lots to experiment with, lots to play with. Let's just hope the weather holds and we get some sunshine pretty soon. Okay, till next time, take care, and we'll see you down the road. Bye.